Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Sportsbook Confidential. My name's John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And got an interesting program today. We had a great football game last night. Green Bay and Arizona. Very exciting finish. I felt like Green Bay's game plan was very good. They shortened the game. They ran a lot. Tried to limit the amount of possessions Arizona would get. And other than their choices at the goal line a few times, I thought they did a great job. Today, we're on the betting side of things. We're going to talk about saving, the mindset behind saving a bet, what that's all about. The concept is basically like it sounds, but the reasoning behind it is something we need to delve into a little bit and may help you with your betting strategies going forward. We got a great weekend in sports. We've got, of course, NBA's in full swing, NHL's in full swing, more NASCAR this weekend. But we're going to talk about college and pro football, and then I'm going to preview the Friday and Saturday NHL games as we look to the weekend of sports betting. And so before we do any of that, let's do what we always do and update my bankroll. And starting bankroll of $224, and we had 6 wagers, which is a lot for me. Oklahoma State +7, that was a win. $7 to the bankroll. It was the closing line was 7, so we got a 0 on our count. That number in the brackets. If we beat the closing line, we get a +1. If we don't beat the closing line, we get a -1. And then we had Alabama under 68.5, and it was looking pretty good in the fourth quarter. And then Alabama just went back to back with 3 straight touchdowns and put it over. -$7 to the bankroll. +1, we beat the closing line of 68. Titans +5 against the Chiefs. The model said it was pretty much a pick'em game. The Titans rolled. They won 27-3. +$6 to the bankroll, +1 for beating the closing line of 4. And then we had on Sunday night the Colts at the 49ers in that rain-soaked Sunday night game. Was a win for us as the Colts won outright, +$7 to the bankroll, +1 as the closing line was +3.5 instead of +4.5. Then in hockey, we had the Arizona Coyotes money line, and they still have not won a game. That was a loss for us, -$7 to the bankroll. And then we had a NASCAR bet, a half unit each on Logano and Keselowski to win the race. And the Hendrick cars dominated, finishing 1-2. So that was -$7 to the bankroll. And if you add it all up and do the math, it's a grand total of -$1 to the bankroll. So we have a new bankroll of $223. Bet size remains at $7 as we divide by 30 to determine our bet size. And our new count is up to +13 from +10. So it was a good week. And that count number is a cumulative total. And if it's a positive number, that means you're beating the closing line more often than not. And that's a good sign that you're finding value in your wagers. So good for us going forward. Our methodology is good. Maybe we bet too much. And let's talk about that in today's Sportsbook lesson. And before we start about saving bets, let's just review some bet terminology as we go forward. So first thing I want to talk about is bet type. And I'm not going to go through all the different types and explain them, but a bet type is the specifics of your wager. Are you betting money line? Are you betting point spread? Are you betting the total over under? Are you betting a future bet? Are you betting a prop bet? Are you betting a parlay or some other exotic type of wager? Those are types of bets. And then your bet sizing is the amount of your wager. So on this program, I calculate at the beginning of the program what my unit size is going to be for the week. So you know that my bets are going to, this week, they're going to be $7. And you should too calculate your unit size. And if you're an advanced wagerer, you know, your unit sizes could vary from bet to bet. But for beginning bettors, I recommend sticking to a unit size that can keep you, with a bankroll and in the game. And then finally is bet frequency. How often do you place bets? And this is important because there is, times when we bet too much, and I am just as guilty of this as anybody else. So we need to consider how often we place our bets. And, a lot of that has to do with how many sports we like to wager on. If I'm just a football guy and I'm betting NFL and, say, college football, then I'm placing bets on Saturday and Sunday, and occasionally on a Monday night or a Thursday night. But basically, it's just Saturday and Sunday. And you got about 60 college games, and you got about 14 NFL games. And, you figure out, well, how many bets should I be making that weekend? Well, there's a lot of factors involved. How many good bets are there? How many value bets are there? So we want to place good value bets, but we also don't want to bet too much. So let's talk a little bit about what is saving a bet. Simply put, saving a bet is avoiding a wager that you had originally intended to place. So, if I like the Broncos plus 3.5, example, the line moves from 3.5 to 2.5. Now the Broncos are plus 2.5. I'm not getting that plus 3 to cover a field goal loss. That may put the bet out of range for me. This may sway you from wanting to place that bet. Another example using the same spread, if I think the Broncos are a 3-point favorite and they're getting plus 3.5 and it goes to 2.5, well, my model says they're still getting 5 points more than they should be getting. So yes, I still would maybe want to place that bet. However, you need to consider, is this the bet that's the best one on the board for me? Is this the best value? You think the risk, odds obviously play a factor here, not only what the spread is, but what the payout is. And then here's another example. You find a late betting opportunity, but have already placed several wagers. You might hesitate to prevent betting too much. And I put too much in parentheses because there's two ways to look at this. Number one is you don't want to lay out too much of your bankroll at once, and that's betting too much. The other is, what if this late betting opportunity is the best one on the board? You could bet that late one and then try to get out of your position on an earlier one. If I bet the 1 o'clock game and then I found a great wager on the 8 o'clock game on Saturday, I can bet the other side of the 1 o'clock game, eat the juice, lose your vig or whatever, and then I'm freed up to. But that takes bankroll to do that. You've got to manage your bankroll to have the funds to get out of that position. So you don't, want to wager too much. And then, you have what I call entertainment betting. And there's nothing wrong with entertainment betting. I've said this many times. I feel like betting a $5 10-team parlay is a better entertainment value in my book than going, paying $8 to go to the movies. Because you get to watch football all weekend or sports all weekend and see how many of those 10 bets you got right. And if you happen to get them all right, you get a big payday. However, your chances of winning are very small. So if you can give up what I call the dollar and a dream aspect, dollar to dream is a New York Lotto advertising slogan, in your betting, and just do it with, write it down on a piece of paper, the parlay you would have played, and save that $5 for your actual betting bankroll. That is going to get you further in the long run. It's hard if you're going to do betting as a hobby with a profit motive to try and earn money. It's hard to see further down the road. You start at the beginning, and almost everybody loses in the beginning. If you listen to sports betting podcasts, almost every professional bettor you listen to will talk about how they lost in the beginning. And it's hard to see the forest for the trees, as they say. They don't really like to, these guys that they're obviously selling something. They're selling their apps or their websites or their services or whatever. They don't like to talk about losing. They don't like to talk about the process of going from loser to winner. And it's a long, drawn-out process. And if you watched my episodes over the last couple of years, you'll know probably my most important episode is called The Continuous Learning Curve of Sports Betting, where you have to continually educate yourself and improved. The model you made 5 years ago is not going to work 5 years from now. You have to adjust it. You have to improve it. You have to adapt it to new rule changes, to new strategies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you bet too much, you can be putting too much of your bankroll out there. And that could be forcing your bankroll down. Or if you save a bet here and save a bet there, try to keep it simple and not bet too much. As I say often on this program, if you're a beginning or intermediate sports bettor, especially if you bet multiple sports, you want to wait for your spots. And sometimes it's hard being patient because you want to have action on the game. So let's talk about the bet-saving mindset. And we'll wrap things up here. If you're going through a prolonged losing period, ask yourself, am I betting too much? And this actually happened to me not too long ago. I started betting soccer this year because of the three-way market. I discovered there's a lot of value in the three-way market, and I can pretty much only get the three-way market in hockey and soccer. And I had a lot of success early on in the summer. And I started expanding and betting on more leagues. And now I research 6 soccer leagues at once. And I was betting too many games. And I was losing to the VIG. It was just, the Sportsbook gets, they charge vigorous, they charge juice to place a bet. And I was winning enough where I should have been breaking even or making money, but I was behind because. So now I cut that back and I really pick and choose my spots. There's still 6 leagues I review, but I look for only specific numbers to bet in specific situations. So it usually comes down to each league, I'll have like 1 bet a week, which is still 6 bets, which is still a lot, but compared to the 18 or 19 I was making a week, it's much less. And it might not even be 6 bets. I might only have 4 or 5 spots where they even fall within my parameters that I would place a bet. So, ask yourself, geez, if you're going through a losing period, ask yourself the first thing, am I betting too much? But because you'll question your process. You'll say, what's going wrong here? Am I just on the bad side of variance? You will always, the best betting advice I ever read is you will always run worse at some point than you ever thought you could. I've lost 21 bets in a row, and I've won 16 or 17 in a row. You'll run better at some point than you ever thought you could, but it happens. The long run for me, it's 8 years now that I've been betting semi-seriously, since 2013. So you'll go through these periods. It's just a matter of time. Instead of betting your best 3 plays, perhaps bet your best 2 or 1. So you'll notice here on the show, I've been giving out 3 NFL plays every week. And last week I only gave out 2. And I think they both won this week. So, think about which one is your best single play. And, you're going to, it's like in the movie Wolf of Wall Street, he says, sell me this pen. If you were saying, I want to bet this game, I would say, tell me why. Tell me why you want to bet this game. Sell me on it. And there's non-number reasons and there's number reasons why that could be a good bet. You don't have to be a math genius to be a good handicapper. There's qualitative handicapping and quantitative handicapping. But think about why you're placing that bet. Do you just want action on the game? Do you just like the team and want to bet on them? Do you see an injury? Do you see a strategy? Do you see weather? Is the ref crew bad, good? Sell me on the game. Tell me why you want to bet on that game. And then find your best one out of all the games you're considering. And that's the one you should make. You're going to feel good about making it, win or lose. If you bet multiple sports, use only your best play from each one. We've already kind of talked about this, but there's a ton of hockey on Saturday. There's a ton of college football on Saturday. There's a ton of pro football on Sunday. So maybe I bet one of each. The overall result of this mindset is to keep the bets in your pocket, saving bankroll for true value opportunities. There are going to be times when you're saying, hey, I'm only playing the best NFL game this week, where you see 3 really good games on the same week. And they could all be plus expected value bets. They could all be great bets. So having that bankroll, not laying it out early just to, have action, waiting for the ones you really, really, really like, it's good to have that bankroll in your pocket. So that's a mindset. I'm saving this bet for another opportunity. I have been at the kiosk, at the local casino, ready to punch print ticket on a bet, and I've stopped and I've said, I'm saving this bet. And I just clear it out and not make it. It's hard to do, but if you get to the point where you can do that, you have accomplished a major step forward in managing your bankroll and not running out of money. I know that, my betting on the program is pretty conservative, and if you are a good bettor, you want to take bigger shots on the bets you really like. This is designed to keep people that are dabbling into sports betting or just learning about it in the game with acceptable losses or maybe a chance to break even or make a little money. That's what this program is designed to do. But think about saving bets. It will help you in the long run. So I hope you found that helpful. Let's get on to the weekend in sports. And let's start with college football. Here's the games I posted that have interest to me. I will say Boston College is at Syracuse. We can't bet on that game. I like Boston College. I think they're a better team on paper. I like them on the spread and the money line. They're getting 6.5. Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan State plus 4, 50.5. You got two undefeated teams going at it here. I have to say that I like Michigan State here getting 4. I feel like you might want to sprinkle on the money line, and I feel like under is the play here. If it got to 51, I would really like the under, but these are two teams that both have strong defenses and good running games, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And the lower-scoring game it is, that plus 4 looms larger and larger and larger. So Michigan could win this game by 7, but boy, getting 4 points at home in this big rivalry game, that's a lot. Iowa State at West Virginia, plus 7, 48.5. Of course, Iowa State beat Oklahoma State last week, a game that they basically, they won it, but Oklahoma State really lost it. They missed a couple of kicks. I feel like this is a perfect letdown spot. Going on the road to West Virginia, getting 7 at home, 48.5. If you like West Virginia, you probably like the over here. But I like West Virginia getting a touchdown. I think that they could backdoor this if they have a bad game. Purdue at Nebraska. Nebraska getting 7.5 at home, 52. Nebraska's played much better since early on in the season. They almost lost to Tulane. Purdue has had some really great spots. They had a kind of a letdown after their big win. I feel like Purdue getting 7.5 is too many, and I feel like the under is definitely a play here. I feel like these teams have really middling offenses and good defenses, so it leans to the under by far. Things I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. Georgia at Florida, the world's largest cocktail party. I believe the game's in Jacksonville. It's always at a neutral site. Florida getting 14.51 is the total. Georgia has a great defense. I would really be surprised if this game got over 51. If it got to like 15 points, I think I would take a flyer on Florida. Georgia really hasn't blown anybody away that is, a top 25 team, top 25 caliber team. They seem to, win by 1 to 2 scores. So if you're getting more than 2 scores from Florida, I think that's something worth looking at. SMU at Houston, AAC matchup, minus 161.5. SMU is undefeated. They have a really good chance of going undefeated, but they have 0 chance of making the playoffs. This game, unless SMU starting quarterback is out, and I'm not aware of it, I would be all over SMU here because the higher the total goes, the higher the score is expected to go. It leans heavily towards SMU. Sonny Dykes runs this amazing up-tempo offense. He did it at Louisiana Tech, then he did it at Cal, and now he's doing it at SMU with a lot of success. Kentucky at Mississippi State, minus 1.547. Kentucky has a very good defense. Mississippi State is a team that likes to go up tempo, but this is a tough spot for them. Kentucky is not a bad team at all. I don't like. I would, if they were getting 2.5, I'd probably be all over Kentucky. So watch that line. I do like Kentucky. I lean towards the under here. We'll see where that goes. Penn State at Ohio State, and the only thing that would keep me from taking Penn State is their starting quarterback got hurt in the Iowa game, and I don't know if he's back yet or not. I don't think he's going to be back for a while. If their starting quarterback is in for Penn State, then I'm on the points here. However, if they're going to their backup, their chances of passing successfully are limited. So I like Ohio State, but I don't like a wager on this game. I would not be surprised if this went under, especially if Penn State's playing with the backup. It's going to limit the amount of points they can score. If this did get to 21 for some reason, I would probably take a flyer on Penn State. They have a really good defense. North Carolina at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's trying to keep their very slim playoff hopes alive. -3.5 at home, 62.5. This, I think, is a great underplay. North Carolina does have a high-powered offense, but Notre Dame has one of the best defenses in the country. They got lit up by Cincinnati, but I don't think North Carolina is on the same level as Cincinnati. I know they got housed by Cincinnati at home, but I think Notre Dame gets the job done here, but I like the under more than the spread. So let's move on to NFL. And we've got 14 games left on this week. Rams at the Texans +14, 47.5. You can see my model has it at 15.38, 48.41. Not really a lot of value there. I don't like the large spread games. I'm going to avoid that altogether. Steelers at the Browns, -3.5, 42. I have it at -1.87, 46.04. Model really likes the over here. Case Keenum probably playing for Baker Mayfield in this game. Ben Roethlisberger has had good games and bad games this year. I would feel like, unless there's a weather issue, over 42 is probably a pretty strong play. Eagles at the Lions, +3.5, 48.5, +5.31, 49.15. So the model says lean to the under here. If the Lions were getting like 4.5, I might be interested. They're going to win. The people have said that they're the best 0-whatever team they are, 0-7 now, ever. They're a good team that has had an insane amount of bad luck. They're not going to go winless this year unless they have a massive slew of injuries. This is a good spot for them to get off the schneid. So it's not the number I would like, but if it got a good money line number, maybe sprinkle a little on the money line. 49ers at Bears, +439. I have it at +3.69, 38.76. That's basically right on where it is. I think the Bears are better than they're made out to be. The 49ers are not as good as they're made out to be. This is going to be a pretty close game. Not enough value on either side to place a bet. Panthers at the Falcons, -3, 46.5. -1.04, 46.66. So I have this as basically a coin flip game. Falcons favored by 1. The total's right on. So, if McCaffrey was back, I'd be all over the Panthers here. But both of these teams are wildly inconsistent, although Atlanta has played better week to week to week going forward. And they're, if they win this game, they're 4-3? Back to a winning record. Dolphins at the Bills, -14, 49.5, -18.74, 46.63. So my model says take the -14, and they should win by 14, but I just can't bring myself to do it. My model really likes the under here, and I think that's a solid play. I think we can close the book on Tua. He's not the only problem with the Dolphins, but he is not the top-tier quarterback. And that may be because he hasn't had enough time to develop, or maybe because he's had a series of injuries. He had that huge hip surgery in college, and he's been unable to stay healthy. But this is going to be a tough – if the Miami defense shows up, it's definitely going to be under 49.5. This could be a 27-3 game. I could see something like that, or 34-10, like the under there. And Bengals at Jets, plus 11, 42.5. I have it at plus 10.2, 43.17. So it says over. Joe Flacco, I guess, is going to play for the Jets. He's got, he had like 5 days to prepare. I don't see how, you would want to bet anything but the Bengals in this game. Let's finish up the NFL. Titans at Colts. I think this is a very interesting game. Colts minus 351. I really thought I would get a good number on the Colts since the Titans just won 2 big games back-to-back. But nope. The bookmakers are saying minus 3. I have this as basically a coin flip game. Colts is a 1-point favorite. The total is right on. So, if the Titans got 3.5, I think I'd take a flyer on the Titans. Patriots at Chargers. Chargers minus 4, 49, minus 4.73, 47.10. Again, the model likes the under here. The Patriots defense is very good. The Chargers use a lot of analytics in their in-game management. They go for it a lot, which tends to result in more expected points scored, which means more points scored, which means closer to overs. But they're going up against a very good defense. And again, in the stadium in L.A., there may be more Patriots fans than Chargers fans. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Jaguars at the Seahawks, minus 3.5, 44.5. I have it at minus 5.72, 44.26. Geno Smith against Trevor Lawrence. The model says take the Seahawks. They can run the ball if they're healthy. And if Geno is not forced to throw deep, because of them being behind, they should handle business. It's a tough place to play on the road. It's the first time that Trevor Lawrence is going to play in an environment like that. Let's see what happens. Washington football team, somebody on Twitter, on YouTube, called them the Washington emails last week, which I thought was hilarious. At the Broncos, minus 3.5, 44.5, minus 5.8, 43.8. So my model leans to the under. Model really likes the Broncos here, and I agree. They've had a couple of bad weeks, and this game is probably going to get them off the schneid. Keep them in the playoff race. This is kind of a must-win for them. I feel like Washington has just not been able to put it together this year. That Taylor Heineke, now that he's been scouted for several games, they seem to have the book on him, so he's not going to surprise anymore. So without a big passing game from him, they don't really have much of a chance. Bucks at the Saints, big game in the NFC South, plus 4.5, 50.5, plus 5.39, 50.15. It's right on. I'm rooting for the Saints, but it's hard to bet against the Bucks right now. When the Bucks start giving up 10 to teams like the Saints, then that's when you want to hop on the underdog. Cowboys at Vikings, minus 2.5, 53.5. I actually have the Cowboys as almost 4-point favorites here. 58 is the total. So, of course, we like the over. Of course, we like the Cowboys. Cowboys getting 2.5. Boy, that's, you could bet a money line and you're still supposedly, by the model's opinion, getting 4 points. So, really like the Cowboys here. I expect a high-scoring game. The Vikings are a good team with a bad coach. I said it. Dalvin Cook being continually on and off. When I mean on and off, I mean active, inactive. It's been bad for them. They need to have another back, either have another back ready to go that's the same quality. Because if Cousins has to rely on the passing game, he's in a bad spot. As much as I don't like the Cowboys, I like the Cowboys on Sunday. And then Monday night, Giants at the Chiefs, minus 9.5, 52. I have the Chiefs at 7.09 and 46.07. So we love the under here, and the model likes the Giants. It's almost 3-point difference. I think the Giants' defense is good. They showed it last week against the Panthers. Wasn't really a tough opponent for them. I don't see them giving up 38 points to the Chiefs. I just, the Chiefs need to have a statement game at some point, and they really need this game to stay in the playoff race. I think they get it done. But it'll be interesting to see by how much. So, now that we have the football covered, let's talk hockey. We've got hockey on Friday and Saturday. And I'm going to go over this really rather quickly. The Panthers are favored, but they're not getting good odds. There's no good odds. There's basically, in Friday's slate, in my opinion, there are no decent odds to bet. The Panthers are favored by about a goal over the Red Wings, but not at that price. The Rangers are favored by a goal over the Blue Jackets, but not at that price. The Hurricanes are favored by a goal over the Blackhawks, but not at that price. The Capitals are only favored by a half a goal over the Coyotes, but minus 360. My God, no. The Coyotes have not won a game yet. They are, in their analytics, they're about in the middle of the pack. They're not real. They're a bad team. But even if they're the worst team in the NHL, they're still going to win 25 to 30 times this year. So they have to win a game at some point. And if they start getting plus 300, start betting them because they're going to win a few. The Ducks at Vegas. The Ducks are playing back-to-back. This is a horrible price for either side, getting plus 200 and minus 250. That is just robbery from the Sportsbook. And then the Senators at the Stars. This game, I have these teams very even. So that might be a game where you would want to bet the game to go to overtime with the three-way market. But two-way, there's no bets there. And then Saturday, we have a couple of bets that I like. Okay, Islanders at Predators. The Islanders' analytics are horrible this year. They are just starting to kind of get better. But the Predators are favored in this game by about almost a full goal. Canadians at Kings. We have this game very even. Don't really like either side. Devils at Penguins. I also have this game very even, so I would lean towards the Penguins here. You're talking about pretty much a coin flip game, and you're getting plus 130. Red Wings at Maple Leafs. Red Wings playing a back-to-back. Again, horrible odds on both sides to bet either team. Jets at the Sharks. I have this as an even game, and they're even odds. There's no real value there. The Panthers at the Bruins. You got the Panthers playing back, second half of a back-to-back on the road at a rested Boston team. Panthers coach just resigned. Good spot to bet the Bruins at minus 130. That'll probably be minus 150 tomorrow. Blackhawks at the Blues. The Blackhawks are a mess. The players are worried they're going to get tapped on the shoulder and suspended because of this assault case that's going on. The Blues, Blackhawks are analytically not a bad team, but psychologically they're a mess. I couldn't lay 175 there. The Wild at the Avalanche. The Wild are not. Their analytics are a little better than the Avalanche's, but not enough to want to place a bet on the Wild. But that's a pretty good number. The Flyers at the Flames. The Flames are the better team. Not good enough odds to bet. And then the Oilers at the Canucks. The Oilers are number one in expected goals in the NHL. Minus 140 is actually a pretty good number for them, but I'll probably pass on that. So let's get to my plays as I wrap things up today. I'm saving some bets. I'm going with 4 plays. I'm going to take SMU on the money line in college football. They're the best team in that conference, and I expect them to win. Miami and Buffalo under 49.5. There are several totals that I like this week in the NFL, but I feel like this one, like I said, 24-10, 34-10, something like that. Cowboys plus 2.5 against the Vikings. I don't think either coach is a great coach, but I think McCarthy is better than Chili. And then the Nashville Predators Saturday afternoon at home against the Islanders, moneyline minus 105. That's my hockey play for the day. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you got some value out of this. I hope I gave you some insight that will help you with your wagers, and we'll be back next week with another episode. So what I'll do for you is I'll play the outro music, and let's go get some winners, folks. Take care, everybody.